I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Afternoon and welcome and thank you so much for joining us. It is indeed a magnificent Monday. And each day I recognize more and more the wisdom of Miss Norma. Why she tells me, that's why we have YouTube, why we have the cameras. As much as I protest, I think she wins, not just because of her wisdom, not just because of her position, but you can see her counsel rings true. Go online right now and you can see why. Because you want to see two fine, handsome gentlemen. One, I think you look at and go, what? Check him out. Susan says the third one, but I don't look around. I don't see him. It's just me. So two handsome gentlemen, then me. Join us, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're going to listen like how I think you should, pure radio. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And as you've gone on YouTube and you've watched, you go, what? He wasn't kidding. In the studio, in his capacity this time as the Historic Programs Manager at the National Trust, Mr. Stuart Wilson.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Good afternoon.
Welcome. I'm grateful we can get in some great things. And next to him, he might even say in this occasion, his right-hand man for the Capital Club, Mr. Jerris Miller.
Thanks, Ian. It's great to be here and to get an opportunity to partner with the National Trust and see if we can raise some money for their historical programs. We both work towards the same goals in this area. So,
yeah. Well, thank you both very much. And I think when we look at not just the work of, say, the National Trust in particular, but when we see the individuals that partner, the individuals that come on board, we're not just lending of our time or our talents, but sometimes our very ethos are brought to bear on what we're doing. And when we look at our culture, our history, our heritage, when we look at the sort of assembling of our people sometimes to not just support, but to promote, to invite others to share with us. I hope he doesn't mind, and I say this to him all the time, and I know he blushes because he probably thinks, boy, if I didn't know you any better, you think he'd want something rare banker. His passion, his enthusiasm, his knowledge, but that, just determination that he has, this passion for. Yeah. Did you notice? I'm like,
those are the kinds of ambassadors that I think we need, in the community.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, Caymanian culture and heritage is very unique around the world, very distinct cultural sort of canvas that we have. There are things that we do and practice here that are done and practiced nowhere else in the world. Silver thatch, roping, this kind of thing. In fact, you can't find a tree anywhere else, so you couldn't do it if you even wanted to. This rope was that was, sought after throughout the Orient and all over the world before nylon came on board. And so we have a very rich past here in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. And I'm hoping that not just even its celebration and promotion with those who may visit our shows from time to time, but those who come and live with us for generations, but us to embrace it. But equally, the uniqueness of who we are. But equally, something that is even more intriguing to an extent is how, despite a very small place, a very small population, we've gone to almost all corners and there is this great interaction. seemingly every week.
Yeah.
I find I meet somebody, I encounter something that sees a connection between Cayman and this place.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's the seamen. It's the seamen. We went to all of the ports. I mean, Mr. Jerris can tell you more about that than me, probably. But certainly.
I don't think we have any other country in the world this small that has a number of nationalities that we have all mixing together here and working together really well. And I, as you said, I really think it goes back to the seamen's, the seamen that in the seamen's tradition. Mm-hmm. That they went all around the world. It wasn't a strange thing to hear your dad talking about his German friend or his Japanese friend or his, these people from around the world.
Let's keep it to the male friends, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, seamen. But, the long-lasting relationships and ships and stuff. So the people who were, even back home got to know all these nationalities and realized that, the Germans isn't just a war or whatever. They're not all like that. I mean, there's some good ones as well and that sort of thing. I mean,
But a beautiful part to it, to listen to you, it isn't that we're boasting. It's about having a sense of pride.
Certainly. I mean, I think it's with culture. I think it's impossible to boast. It's you can only celebrate.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do. We want to celebrate this culture, and we want to pass it on, and we make sure that it's as rich today as it ever has been, and that what we exhibit for our visitors to see is something that we are definitely proud of, and something that we know stands the test of time. When you look at what built Cayman, the kinds of, I think it was integrity and the characteristics of the people, more so than even money.
Yeah.
That built this place, and so a lot of that shines through in some of the practices and some of the things that have been handed down through time, and those are the things that we want to celebrate. The catboat, our design is used in Nicaragua to this day. Yeah. Some of our schooners influence the way that they build schooners to this day, and so I mean these are the things that we want to highlight about our Caymanian people, and some of the contributions we've made.
Caymanians, set up boat building, large boat building places in Nicaragua, Honduras, Cuba, Jamaica, all from Caymanians that moved out and started these industries abroad. So rather than importing it, we were actually exporting expertise at that time.
Something that I look at in recognizing human history. We talk about the agrarian society, the industrial revolution, information age, and all other things that are transpiring even today.
Yeah.
But something that I think we didn't recognize that we were. Before there was this thing of knowledge-based industries, we were. We didn't have this great manufacturing, even though there were exports. We're talking about our mahogany and other hardwoods really going around the world.
Yeah, you imagine how industrious the people had to be, because there were no factories or anything like that. And I mean, these were things that we were mass producing. Yeah. I mean, these people weren't wasting any time.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you really sit and have an awareness about that and really think, what it must have took from such a small group of people to produce at such a large, to affect so much of what was happening on a global scale. Then when you look at the phenomenon of our financial industry today, you can't be surprised.
But
it's funny that that he say that, because Caymanians 150 years ago had to survive with what we had here, and we were building very large schooners, in fact, etc. And these woods and stuff for these, you literally had to go into the bush. There's no roads. There was no anything. To this day, in Forest Glen, there's a keel that was cut for the arbutus. This keel, when you went in the bush, you had to literally drag the stuff out. Okay, so you had to make the piece in the bushes, get it all ready, and drag it out. The boat builder ordered, the archers ordered a keel X number of feet long. They cut it, made it exactly that size. But they ended up having to leave it in the bush because the only way to get it out is to drag it out over the cliff. When you do that, you damage the first 2 or 3 feet of the wood.
Yeah.
So you can't use it for a keel. So you cannot, you can't. So they had to go and cut another piece and make another keel that was 3 or 4 feet longer, because there's no other way of getting it, miles and miles out of the cliff. Those days, but to literally grab it, men to grab it and drag it out, but it would damage the end of the wood. So this one is still to this day sitting in that piece of Cayman mahogany, and it's still sitting in Forest Glen.
Yeah. How many, and as you share
75 years. Yeah.
I was going to say 80 when you think about it. But when you think of that, and as you were sharing, I was thinking of this notion that within our people, there's a resolve and a resilience. But there's also an element of foresight, vision, tenacity.
Yeah.
But patience. Now, my father, he always says to me, okay, young buck, he said, Rome wasn't built in a day. And just like the boat builders will go in, they'll find a tree, and they'll take and they'll shape it from a sapling. They'll take it, and thing is going to be this thing 10 years down the road, right? They weren't looking at just today. Yeah. Now, a society that my friend talks about, the microwave popcorn throwaway society.
Boy, I tell you. Well, listen to this now. When we are looking at our watches, a lot of those older folks are looking at the calendar.
You see,
and that is a totally different perspective and way of looking at life. And I think we got a lot to learn from them. I think that the generation before us could be, if we're not careful, that could be the last bit of wealth we have left. And we have to really treasure that. Yeah.
Knowledge is power, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Wisdom, I think, is something.
Absolutely.
And this is why I'm so excited when you reached out to us about having this discussion. And when we come back from the break, we'll talk more about it. Not just this continued partnership between the National Trust and the Catboat Club, but what it means for us as a people as we embrace who we are. Yeah. In a world that is changing on a daily basis. We have people come in and talk to us, whether on the political front, whether about environment, whether about economics and the financial landscape of geopolitical landscape that is changing. Yeah, it is changing. Mm-hmm. But is it, as you shared, Stuart, is it that the ethos that has been inculcated in our people, one of respect for self and for others, one for appreciation for what we have today, but equally what we're going to preserve and present for tomorrow?
That's the one we can't compromise on.
But we are seemingly willing to, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, well, you've been fighting it with your show, Dwayne, and I must say that, listening to the show, I love that you guys have that cultural component, and you definitely want to highlight issues like these. When I called you, you're very receptive, and we're happy to be putting this event on, and we're happy to be partnering with the Cayman Catboat Club. The event is taking place on the 22nd of November. It's a Friday evening from 6 till 8:30. And we're going to have people like Mr. Kim Jackson on hand, Mr. Loxley Banks, Mr. Eldermeyer, Mr. Kendall Eldermeyer, who they'll be answering questions and stuff like that. We're going to have a presentation. It's going to be a /happy hour / lecture, educational and awareness type of event. I have a little bit of music there by I think Mr. Nathan Barnett is going to be giving us a little bit of flamenco on the guitar. It's going to be a nice evening of learning, of cultural appreciation, and a social gathering as well.
All right. Tell us more when we come back from the break.
Sure.
Stuart Wilson, Jerris Miller sits with us. And every time we get a chance to embrace who we are, to celebrate what we are, what a wonderful way to invite others to be a part of what is and what is to come. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. I know, you like when you call and you hear, DJ Lynn, but guess what? Special treat. Susan Watson sits at her usual spot. She answers the phone. Right, Stuart?
The beautiful Susan. The beautiful you can't lose.
You see? I didn't even have this pain to say that. Oh, man. The world loves Susan. And we see what, on the back always produces great. So we're going to pause, take a break. When we come back, we'll talk today.
As a Caymanian, it's very important to me that projects like this are thought of thoroughly before continuing.
My question is, do we need it? and I've not yet been fully convinced that we need it, nor have I been fully convinced that we don't need it. So
What guarantee do we have that these ships are going to continue to come?
Please make the right decision.
Please don't let the catchy songs overturn you. Please support the referendum. Please ensure that you are supporting sustainable tourism, not just money-making tourism.
If the project plans have changed, even though it might be insignificant on paper, it's going to be significant for the environment.
They need to release official information, official facts.
that's where I am right now. I want to know, I want more information on do we need it.
It's your vote, your future.
So make a decision based on fact.
You deserve the whole truth.
I'm starting my shopping early this year. What you want for Christmas?
All I really want for Christmas is for my packages to arrive on time.
Plan ahead to get your shipments into Seaboard Marine on time and avoid the holiday rush. Check out their great less-than-container shipment rates. Seaboard saves you time, money, and convenience with consolidation and repacking options available. Take a load off Santa this holiday season. Shop, ship, and save on your small packages with Seaboard Marine. Give us a call at 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com/grand-cayman for quotes or additional details.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Verdant Isle Port Partners is hosting a job fair and open house on Tuesday, October 29th between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. at Margaritaville Beach Resort. Obtain information and register expressions of interest for jobs in building, heavy civil, marine construction and diving, cruise ship positions, tours and shore excursions. Have an idea for a tour business? Appointments are also available for meetings with cruise company executives to discuss tour business opportunities and ideas. For details, visit verdant.ky or email info@verdant.ky.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. And thank you so much for joining us. And I trust and pray that as you listen, that you would not just reminisce, that if I can invite you to take up the mantle. You may be 85 or you may just be 5. You know, this world is a beautiful place, and I'm grateful that Stuart Wilson, in this capacity as the Historic Programs Manager of the National Trust. Got that title right, Mr. Stuart?
Yeah, that's correct. Historic Programs Manager.
All right. And in partnership with the Cayman Catboat Club, I think many times, they look at Jerris Miller, not just an avid sailor, not just a champion for our culture, but Jerris, you can't be from Northside, not be jovial.
Hey.
Boy, it's pretty down there, not true.
That would tell me. But apparently, I have to come by invitation nowadays.
Yeah, it's beautiful down there, though.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But, the beautiful part is that as you, and I'll invite you again to share, not just because repetition makes for emphasis, but the notion that as a people, we get to celebrate, we get to be reminded, and sometimes for the first time, to actually get to be introduced. No, and I'm not talking about people who've only been here for a short time or who may have been here for a long time. I'm talking about those of us that claim that our ancestral links go back generations. Our lives and our worlds are so different that when was the last time we did this? Yeah. We didn't even know about this. because things have changed.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, okay, because there's a lot of generation, and first of all, we have to realize that our culture is what it is today.
Mhm.
I mean, and it's all that wonderful influence from that 303 nationalities and everything that got us where we are today.
West Bears, North Bears, and Georgetowns, or Canberras.
Now, our historical culture now that we had, historically, not only are there, less people to tell it nowadays, but I don't think we're getting it across to the generational Caymanians, the next generation of the generational Caymanians, the new Caymanians that are coming in. Quite often, they're more receptive to what you have to say, about the older Caymanian culture. I think because we all get so busy, that we don't necessarily pass it on to, we figure, well, oh, that's Dwayne, man, his daddy was one of the best catboat people in the world. I don't need to tell him nothing about catboat. I don't need to take him out and show him nothing on a catboat. But we need to. We need to pass it on,
Something that I almost, sadly, and I don't mean make my daughter feel bad, but I feel bad about it. There's the catboat, the Deb, in our backyard. And, my daughter can't get to it for reasons, I gotta fix this thing. I'm a little boy. And I got to fix this thing. I don't have no tools, have no clue how I'm doing. I fixed it already. And only could I, should I, would I? And if I had that it's amazing what you lose that you don't realize that you had, right?
What would have been amazing is if someone who built a catboat had gotten with you way back then. Because you would have learned so much, because you were brave enough to take it apart, and a lot of people have done that, okay, myself included, okay, but you can't put it back together.
Except how smart I'll call my brothers.
Except the way that your grandfather put it back together, or your dad put it back together. There's not a modern way to build a catboat.
No,
we thought we went through that whole process that we can do the plans, we can make this a sort of a kit type thing. Every plank and stuff is fitted and shaped to fit into a catboat. So, it would have been so wonderful if somebody had taken you up at the time. But way back then, that would have been 30 years ago. It wasn't
a little bit longer than
40 years ago, okay? It wasn't,
but thanks.
It wasn't that important. It didn't seem that important
to
teach you that at the time. You know what I mean? We were modernizing, came on, and so that's where we got that gap in there. That is so important.
And it was, I think, Stuart. This is why I'll ask you to send an invitation, tell us more about the event on the 22nd. This is why we sometimes we don't appreciate what's before us, because one, I think we're so busy just trying to live to survive. We see the greener, the glittery, this thing that is seemingly better, right? Now, for me, what's better than a good slice of cassava cake?
Well, that's true too. The thing I think is the utility with the catboat may be a bit less. With things like the food, you can still enjoy it, and it's still a practical part of what's going on. But with the catboat, we don't need it necessarily for transport like we did at one point in time. So I think that the relevance of the actual implement is different today. And so that may have some bearing on why it's less so it's something that you see less of, and we don't communicate about it as much as maybe we should.
It was absolutely.
Having said that, Dwayne, I want to just mention that there was a lady who lived in Bordentown maybe 50 or 60 years ago. She lives in Florida now. She's in her 90s, and she actually sent me a catboat, a model one, that was used to transport prisoners at the time. And I thought it was it sent my imagination just firing, because it harkens to a time in Caymanian culture that we probably don't necessarily associate with the catboat much. But this is even then another older gentleman was saying to me, well, they transported dead bodies like this.
It was a hearse.
There was a hearse. So it really made me begin to start to think about the catboat differently, and to see it like somebody. I mean, there's a book coming out now. I think the catboat.
Schooners, we're doing one. We did the catboat one. We're putting together one on schooners that we want to bring out next year with the government, to coincide with the maritime, the Heroes David. It's going to be maritime next year, so we want to coordinate it with the whole thing, This is something that Stuart just said, that that is what really caused the problem, was the falling away of the utility of the catboat.
Yeah.
Because we didn't end up using it.
Yeah.
They stayed in on dry land and just rotted down till 25 years ago when I started dragging them back out again.
I will see them now, and I don't want anybody to feel offended, but we see them now in yards as part of the gardening display.
Yeah.
We see them parked in businesses as part of our marketing.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great. Those are symbols of national pride.
Yeah.
And, those are things that built this place and made it palatable for people to live here and all these kinds of things. And I think that, we'd be remiss of us to not really celebrate this kind of thing. And so my personal mandate as historic programs manager is to highlight these types of issues. People like Mr. Jerris in the community who have brought these things to the fore and got them back into the national consciousness. We definitely want to partner with people like that and in these sorts of initiatives.
But something to the you say that I maybe want to ask us to consider. Earlier, Stuart, you talked about not just the designs, but the use of the Cayman catboat and its impact on the region and even globally.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't appreciate what that is. We think it's just Cayman.
No.
And I go back, I don't wish to embarrass Mr. Jerris, but I remember, I would say just a couple of years ago.
A few moons
ago. Mr. Jerris got a trailer and a truck and pulling around these things. It was just a small number of us.
Yeah.
When you say we?
Literally, yeah. Literally.
Like embarrassed the fellow.
Yeah, one old cat was dragging around. I remember down at the West Bay Heritage, you guys came out and we got our sale, and And,
But it's something too that I say, and I'm as equally at fault, right? If not sometimes more so. The resolve, the resilience, the consistency, the dedication. One or two will come alongside and we do it for a couple of years and then we pull away because our families expand or our jobs demand more or whatever. But thankfully there have been a small core who have been consistently dedicated.
Those that come and go are really helpful as well. You know what I mean? We wish more would come and stay. But we find exactly what you say, the last 25 years of the Catboat Club, this time this group is active, helping us, and then 10 years from now it's a total different group. But those ones that came are really appreciated.
Okay,
and,
so something to mull over as we go to the break, right? Then we come back, we talk about it. We look at initially the planning, trying to figure out the agenda. Hopefully, forgive me, I don't mean to talk out of school. Those early meetings at Foster's Food Fair Airport, right? Where it is, I can just see it now, an assembly of wonderful people looking at what is going to transpire down the road. So there needs to be some talk in order to formulate some action. And then I come to the 22nd, just days down the road now, where the National Trust, the Catboat Club, has a fellowship. Information sharing.
That's
right?
exactly what it's like.
It may take 30 years sometimes, right? But that 18-year-old who's in the womb takes 18 years.
We want to invite everybody to come out to this because it's an event where, we're celebrating heritage, but we also want to celebrate those who are here visiting and residents among us whom we wish to learn more about this place that they're living in and what the culture of the people were before the industrial revolution took hold here. I mean, Cayman was a fishing village as my recollection serves me, and what my parents told me and what my grandparents would have told me is that they subsided mostly off of the land and the sea. And I mean, what we have today is not necessarily a bad thing, but we don't want to forget where we're coming from either.
Lest we forget, in many ways it applies to so much, but important, to where is that. Let's pause. Quick final break for this segment. When we come back, special, appeal to Mr. Stuart Wilson to extend an invitation, tell us more about a wonderful upcoming event. 949-8037, of course, the floor tour free line is available. 1-800-534-8255. Stuart Wilson, Jerris Miller sits with us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
The government claims the cruise berthing facility won't cost us a penny. It will be paid for by the cruise passenger who use it, not by our people or our government.
The fact is, you will be paying.
Because government is going to give the consortium development team, led by Royal Caribbean and Carnival, a portion of the cruise revenue that is currently being banked by government.
What's more, we will be repaying them
$450 million.
$250 million more
than what the facility even costs.
It's your vote, your future.
So make a decision based on fact.
You deserve the whole truth.
Pirates Week got something for everyone. This holiday Monday, November 11th, come out to Culture Shop on Cardinal Avenue. Watch the youth snapper cook-off, learn how to make silver touch rope, blow a conch horn, and spin a gig. Local arts and crafts will be on sale, and vendors will offer up the best in traditional foods and treats. But wait, there's more. Find out who will win the District Heritage Ambassador Costume Competition and stay for the Illumination Parade and fireworks. Learn more at piratesweekfestival.com. Culture Shop, Monday, November 11, Cardinal Avenue, starting at 12 noon. Sponsored by Ministry of Tourism, Department of Tourism, Ministry of Culture, AI Rentals, Ace Cayman, the Tourism Attraction Board, Pepsi, and Cayman Distributors Group.
Also brought to you by Radio Cayman.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners, serving the Cayman Islands for over 60 years. Take advantage of this fall special from now until 31st October, offering owners special 12% off all prepaid orders, $20 and up on all household items, plus ladies and gents apparel. This offer is good at all our stores. Savannah Countryside, 946-1884. Elgin Avenue, Georgetown, 949-2452. Eastern Avenue, Georgetown, 949-7104. Drive-through, rain or shine. Puritan Cleaners. You feel good when you look good.
Always ensure that food preparation utensils are washed with a strong detergent and rinsed in hot water in the event that they have made contact with flood water. Boil silverware for 10 minutes and immerse glass, porcelain, china, and plastic items in a solution of hot water and 10% chlorine bleach before use. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
Everybody's talking of a new generation, new sensation, and everybody's treading on their own vibration, own inclination. I feel for you, my love. I feel for you, my love. I feel for you, my love. I feel for you, my love.
All right, good afternoon and welcome back. And yes, you are certainly very much aware of that familiar, melodic voice of Stuart Wilson in his usual persona as he performs the world over. But today we talk to him as the Historic Programs Manager at National Trust. Joining him is Jerris Miller, and now for a few minutes we were able to have the great pleasure of Mr. Locks Ebanks sitting with us. Stuart, the two of us, if you'd allow me to sort of be in your age group, I know you're a little bit older than me, but to be able to sit with these gentlemen.
I gotta be careful with you.
Hey, you don't see how I shave, man? but the history, the love, the respect, that thing that that we have here, and now as you were sharing with us on the 22nd, as we invite Ms. Knox in for a couple of quick minutes, but just for those who are listening, this event on the 22nd, share with us quickly.
This is going to be a great opportunity for anybody in the community who has an affinity for Caymanian culture to come out and see what it was like, how our people thrived and you know, made life palatable in this island that you know, nobody thought was, you know, everybody went all everywhere else, and you know, this island was, they thought it was uninhabitable, and you know, it's quite a story. You know, the first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. And today, this is the pearl of the Caribbean. It didn't really have anything to do with money. It was the resourcefulness of the people, and the integrity of the people, and the character of the people.
Mr. Loxley,
and the environment.
He has founded it upon the seas. Something that we've taken to heart. So the environment, that whole ethos of who we are, inculcated in the people that have a strong respect for the environment, for its people and the like. Your perspective, this partnership, National Trust, the Catboat Club, celebrating and showcasing our culture.
Yeah, well, I think the Catboat Club and the National Trust has always been in partnership for many years, and we try to. I mean, the Catboat Club's focus, of course, is catboats, but you know, catboats have a lot of tentacles that reach out into the community that always have to be connected, that should be connected and should be maintained. And the more we can float this information out there and get it to our young folks, especially, I think the better off we will be as a Caymanian society, where we won't get buried all the way. And I think with today's technology and those who are really interested in trying to bring this thing up to the surface and keep it boiling, then there's a lot of work to be done. And I think we can get a lot of work done if everybody is on the same page, and that's what it takes. National Trust, Catboat Club, National Gallery, and all of you folks out there who want to participate. Our history is very important to us, and you know, it's kind of ironic. We just celebrated all the month of October, Older People's Month, and it seems that, you know, the information that they have gathered over, some of them 95 years, some of them, you know, over many years, they keep wanting to get out there, but nobody seems to be listening. They think, you know, you're blowing smoke up the Papa stock pipe, and that's just not it is. I mean, they have information, they have perspectives, they've seen what has gone on, and they can shine a bright light into the future path that we took. Their light was certainly shining bright in our past, and there's no reason why it cannot shine bright in the future. And Stuart, you might be interested in this. You ought to go and listen to it. There's a song on Willie Nelson's new album called "Nobody's Listening," and it really kind of you know, musically depicts some of what's going on, not only in Cayman but in the world. And it's we've got to, if we don't know where we've been, then we're not going to be able to plot a very good path as to where we want to go. And we don't want to stray too far from where we're coming from.
And the sad thing is, you know, what they say, equally to complement that, if you don't know where you're going, and the road will take you there.
And the road will take you there.
And I think this is why, as you say, that partnership has been there from almost time immemorial between the Catboat Club and the National Trust. But to celebrate it, to remind people, to sort of heads up, you know, save the date, whatever you want to do. The 22nd of November, for some, may seem like, gee, that's a month away.
No,
but that's right now.
Put it in the calendar because, and as, I want to say also that all the proceeds from the event are going to be going towards benefiting the historical programs component of the National Trust. There's 12 heritage sites that we own, maintain, and are responsible for. Those include Fort George, the Mission House in Bordentown, the Guardhouse Hill, the Lighthouse in East End, Nurse Leela's in West Bay, Miss Izzy's in West Bay, Dr. Roy's Iron Shore here in Georgetown as well. So there's quite a few sites that the Trust has a mandate for, and this event is going to be going directly to benefiting those programs.
You know, as I listen to you, Stuart, and Mr. Jarris, Mr. Loxley, the idea that a society, relatively speaking, seemingly, you know, when you think of where we are on the map, to know that historically it was deliberate that the mariners would take a little path and come into the shore.
Yeah.
And as they approach, if anybody who's been out on our waters, especially around Grand Cayman, you got to know how to navigate to get inside. You coming into North Sound, we talk about the leak way back when. Now it's all dredge, but they had to understand how to get in with the draft that they had.
Very much so.
All right, and it just shows not just a skill, but a deliberateness about inhabiting, occupying the people.
Absolutely.
Right? And
yes, I mean, you take when in the era of the big schooners, they would not drop their anchor nowhere else but in what we call a white hole, which was sand.
Yeah.
You know, they would at all costs try to
avoid them rocks.
Yeah, avoid any panchols as we call it, but coral. You know.
Yeah. They didn't want to destroy them. I mean, you know, they weren't interested in anchoring down pancho and stuff.
Yes.
Well, I think it comes back then to simply making the time to understand who we are, what we are, why we are. And on the 22nd would be that chance to, you want to see the reminisce, the fellowship, you want to see the network, to reconnect, maybe to be educated.
Talk to some
Absolutely.
Caymanians, all the Caymanians, you know, hear some interesting stories.
Someone wants like to know, well, you know, how do I get tickets, how do I find information? Stuart, this drops in your plate, man. Tell us, how do we find out more?
Yeah, you can contact 749-1121. That's the front desk number for the National Trust. Or you can email info@nationaltrust.org.ky, or you can even call me 749-1121 is my number at the office, or check out on our Facebook page. It's every day we put posts up about the actual event and when, you know, time and where people can get the tickets. Or they can come into the office and get the tickets. They can fill out the form, stack forms to pay online. So there's a multitude of different avenues they can take.
All right.
You know, I think you repeated it a while ago, and I can't recall it quickly. But if you don't know where you came from, all roads. How did it go?
If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Yeah.
It is true.
And the way we know where we're going is knowing where we came from.
Exactly.
Looking back at your past.
And in this community, this Cayman Islands environment, there are so many people with roads that want to lead you down down those paths that you made reference to.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an interaction this morning, and one of those roads popped up there.
But this is the beautiful part, I think, that we fail to appreciate within our people. Quiet, unassuming,
but
docile, what some would even say. But there's a point where enough is enough. This is not that thing, right? This isn't how we do it.
Yeah.
It could be something like you're preparing a particular meal and you don't put, you know, certain things into certain things.
Well, you know, a lot of it is fundamental lack of understanding who we are, where we've been, where we think we would like to go, and are we
making the moves to get there?
As the old people say, got the gumption to stick to the
That's it,
to
man.
the plot.
Well, gents, thanks much, Mr. Loxley, especially you for allowing us to take into your time for a couple of minutes. As we close out, quickly, Mr. Miller, any closing thoughts? And then, of course, Stuart, maybe you as well.
Just want to remind everyone, it's November the 22nd at the Catboat Club. It'll be upstairs on our beautiful balcony. We hope to catch the sunset. That's why we're starting at 6.
Yeah.
Stuart will give you the number you can call for tickets, and it'll be a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
If I might jump in here, I think you might have to move that back some, because I think
the sun is going to
22nd at 22nd of November.
Almost 5:30.
Sunset might be dipped already. But you got to check it out.
We'll check on that.
Yeah, but you see, that's the plus of having a seaman like Mr. Banks.
I know it was last night. I mean, it was 6:30. It was 6:30. It was dark.
Yeah. But this time of year, it moves. It moves
really quickly.
Yeah,
last night, literally, it was dark at 6:30, and I couldn't believe it. You know,
but I tell you,
yeah. So this was going to be a rich experience, and one that we hope everybody will come out to, whether you're a resident, visiting, a Caymanian, or a green iguana. Come on out. We'll see you there, right? And we'd love to have you.
All right. Well, I trust and pray that as time approaches, maybe you'll find some other time, slip into the studio with us and tell us some more.
Yeah.
But for now, that was it. Susan tells us, say the date.
Thank you.
She's not. The 22nd.
Okay,
more about it.
22nd of November.
All right, gents, thanks very, very, very much.
Thank
and
you.
I hope this week not only is a productive one, but one that we laugh and smile and enjoy and give thanks, man.
All right.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let's pause and take a break. When we come back, what better way to talk than on the talk show? So stay tuned for Talk Today.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access to information.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Local first responders are upskilling thanks to a recent international 2-day training course. The AAIB, in conjunction with the Cayman Islands Civil Aviation Authority, co-hosted this training with 3 instructors from the United Kingdom. The training focused on what to do in the initial 48 hours after an aircraft accident by the various agencies involved until the AAIB can arrive on island to formally assume the investigative role. The Family Life Center was the host to over 60 first responders or agencies that would be involved in the response to a serious incident or accident. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. Labour has run out of excuses for opposing an early general election, Boris Johnson has said, as he made a fresh push for a poll in December. He said nobody relished going into the polls in winter, but this parliament had run its course and was incapable of delivering Brexit. The PM has formally accepted the EU's offer of a Brexit extension until January 31st, 2020, agreed earlier today. And scientists say they've pinpointed the homeland of all humans alive today to a region south of the Zambezi River. The area is now dominated by salt pans, but was once home to an enormous lake, which they say may have been our ancestral heartland 200,000 years ago. Scientists say our ancestors settled for 70,000 years until the local climate change researchers propose. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Verdant Isle Port Partners is hosting a job fair and open house on Tuesday, October 29th between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. at Margaritaville Beach Resort. Obtain information and register expressions of interest for jobs in building, heavy civil, marine construction and diving, cruise ship positions, tours and shore excursions. Have an idea for a tour business? Appointments are also available for meetings with cruise company executives to discuss tour business opportunities and ideas. For details, visit verdant.ky or email info@verdant.ky.
Ambitious, determined, beautiful, and unapologetically uncompromising. You have set the bar high. Now let High Fashion and Design Studio take you to the next level. Full service hair and nail salon carrying the top designer brands. Calvin Klein, 9 West. Shoes, clothing, accessories, quality dressmaking, tailoring, and custom designs. High Fashion and Design Studio, located in Cayman Trade Center, 199 Eastern Avenue, across from Bananas Restaurant. Call 945-4415 to book your high fashion and design experience today. Be bold, be true, be you.
Can you imagine where Cayman runs off renewable energy? We can. Learn how you can join government and be an energy advocate.
Visit the Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure's Facebook page to learn more.
Talk today. but I do have some questions. Talk to Diddy.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk to Diddy.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. And yes, it is exciting. It is a wonderful place in which to live. And then more and more as we celebrate and we look around and recognize the great interaction of the many people who've called to our shores and make it home. And sometimes the training and opportunities, the chance to interact and engage, to fellowship, to network, as you call it, even makes it that much better. And now I'm hoping that my good colleague, Miss Anita, will be able to find a way to relax from her desk for a bit and come in and work even harder as we enjoy the company of our colleagues in Toastmasters. I say that to share as we look at the opportunity to talk about it. The notion of being able to not just convincingly, not just confidently, but very comfortably talk publicly, to be able to encourage and engage people in sometimes not just discussion because they find it to be illuminating, but just for the fun of a conversation, to put down our devices, as it were, and to realize that the true spirit of engaging and interacting is to touch, to feel, to smell, to talk, to be able to see, the eyes of the person on which you speak. Miss Sashoy, as you and Miss Merrill and Sean joins us, may I, if I'm not being imposing too much, ask two things. One, quick intro of each, and then as we come back to the next section, talk about the benefits of Toastmasters, as it were. All right, but let's see. Oh, look at that! There's Jamo, and when you're talking about good people, he appears. It's just like, divine almost. But from your perspective, for those who are listening, if we talk about Toastmasters, a brief intro for yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Sterling, and to Toastmaster Anita, who assisted in getting us on air. I am Sashoy Duncan. I've been a Toastmaster for over 3 years, going 4, and it has been my probably the second or third most important decision I've made in my life. I am now a distinguished Toastmaster, which is the highest level within Toastmasters, and there was a time when I was very shy, and thanks to Toastmasters, I'm here on air with you. And I am more confident, and I am happier being a Toastmaster. And we're here to share a lot more about what is happening in the Cayman Islands.
All right, well, 93 years, I think Anita told me, or here, but
95.
95.
Yes,
What?
yes.
See that? She cheated you 2 years, boy, I tell you. Must be the exchange rate. Now, I know Sean thinks, we say the best for last, but the reason why we go to Merrill first. Miss Merrill, always a pleasure. Honestly, I keep thinking that we shouldn't have cameras in the studio, but more and more as I see the wonderful guests who come in, I'm thinking, that's a reason why we should have cameras, and today is no exception. So we have Stuart, first, and now we got you guys. Good afternoon, Miss Merrill.
Good afternoon.
Toastmasters introduction for Miss Merrill.
Toastmasters started for me in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So presently I'm a competent leader,
Mm-hmm.
which means that I am involved in the aspect of just doing roles. For example, in Toastmasters, we have speakers who present speakers on a weekly basis, and these speakers need speech evaluators. So this is where the speech evaluator would stand up and give commendation or recommendation and commendation on the speaker's speech.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm more involved in other functions. I am presently a dual member of the Scotiabank Pioneers and the Grand Cayman Toastmasters Club. So this is some of the functions that I provide in both clubs.
All right. Now, Sean. Yes. Well, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
And I really appreciate you joining. And if you feel, boy, in the presence of these two great ladies, I'm not worthy, I hear you, man.
Well, I'm humbled to be here, and I'm grateful to be among such wonderful women.
Yeah, the powerful leaders in their own right, Toastmasters for you, but first, just a brief intro of yourself, please.
My name is Sean Down, and good evening or good afternoon to Radio Land. Hope you're enjoying your lunchtime, and welcome to you for joining us here. My journey in Toastmasters began here in the Cayman Islands about 12 months ago. But prior to that, I was exposed or know of the Toastmasters maybe more than, say, 8 or so years ago. I had a youth mentor who was my youth director back then, and she was very integral. So they had lunchtime meetings, and she always talks about table topic. And back then, table topic used to come out of the newspaper for the day. So when you turn up to the club meeting, you never know what current affairs would be thrown at you. Here, I've had the privilege of being a part of the Grand Cayman Toastmasters Club. And it's also the mother club for the Toastmasters movement here in the Cayman Islands. Currently, I serve as Sergeant at Arms for the current Toastmasters here, and I sit on the executive for this Toastmasters period. Just as Meryl say and Sashoy said, one of the things Toastmasters contributes to or helps with is just your overall leadership skills building and your public speaking skills. And I noticed you started out earlier with your segue, or the way you introduced us about speaking openly in front of persons. But Toastmasters also help with this kind of speaking forum, broadcasting, just to form your thoughts, articulate your sentences, articulate your opinion, and to avoid using little crutch words that we pay attention to in Toastmasters. So then, and it's not to I hope I'm not going ahead. It's not to be critical or to point faults out, but it's just the improvement process, because together in the community we help each other to grow and to develop through playing roles.
Right. So sorry, from that perspective though, we recognize that maybe with practice we can perhaps become better at something, whatever that practice is, whether it's an instrument, whether it's a sport, even appearing in front of certain family members, you become even more comfortable. If I may ask you, and because you alluded to it earlier, your appearance now relative to your first appearance, not that long ago.
Yes.
More comfortable? Hopefully it's the setting and the guests and Miss Susan's welcome, but it's
more
also
comfortable, more confident. I know I can do whatever I set my mind to. I know I'm not perfect, but I hone skills to improve myself, and I can speak with confidence. And even if I make a mistake here or there, that's fine. We're all human beings, and I can deliver myself. And what I like about Toastmasters, our founder, Ralph Smedley, says, whatever your grade or position, if you know how and when to speak and when to remain silent, your chances of real success are proportionately increased. And that's what Toastmasters is all about.
Ms. Merrill, if I may then ask, right, and we'll get into some discussions, but I think increasingly, thankfully we've seen it more and more in our schools, whether it's through debating, whether it's through other clubs and the like, getting our students comfortable with reading aloud in class, with engaging in discussion. And maybe it's better and easier now than it was perhaps when we were in school, for argument's sake. But even so, many of us, Caymanians in particular, fairly quiet, honest human. We know and we're comfortable and confident and competent at our workplace, but we don't, be the first to step up and speak up. There are a small number who do, thankfully, and they probably gravitate towards the politics, but that's a different story. But we don't. This gives us a chance to be more confident, to have a greater sense of conviction as to what we do. For you, how has it been as you journeyed through Toastmasters?
Thank you for that question. Before I started Toastmasters, I was very, very quiet. I can still remember in school, there used to be a group of us. I used to sit on the bench while the group stood nearby me and had their conversation. Of course, I would just put in my little 1-2 bits here and there. But since I joined Toastmasters, I find that I love to be more involved with people, because we have a lot of different things that Toastmasters do. And this will bring me to my next point regarding youth. Toastmasters also have a youth leadership program, which I am very much a part of right now. It's now being run by the eminent Toastmasters Club, where we meet every Sunday with about 15 youth. And I must say that it would have been nice if my generation, your generation had that in our times. But this is another reason why I am so involved with the youth now, because I see where it's needed so much with the youth. Even in the program we're doing now, the youth are still afraid to speak up, and we still have to be telling them what to say, and you can say this, you can say that. Let's hear your voice. That's what we stress in youth leadership now, because I see it's so important with our youth.
And thank you for sharing that too, because as far as you recognize, and I hope that you'll forgive me if I impose a bit much, but those of us who know you, Ms. Merrill, we know that you're quiet, and that's not, like so many of us. People don't recognize, but she is quiet. But yet, this transformation, maybe this setting, has allowed you to find a voice.
That's right.
As we look at our young people, whether they're high school or college students, whether they're now graduated and starting in their careers as young professionals, whether they're electricians or whether they're engineers, whether they're accountants or other, they still have this little bit thing about them where they're not as vocal as some. Part of it may be the cultural ethos, but for some reason we're not giving them the confidence that they need to speak publicly to champion the thing in which they believe, because when they do, we castigate them. Now, as we're going to ask Mr. Shaw, maybe Sean, I'll come to you. Men in particular, we say we don't talk as much as women. I say we talk more.
I'm learning that we do converse a lot. We do.
We do.
I believe we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, then, as brothers and uncles, as fathers, as sometimes just companions, how do we get the young men in particular, because they're the ones that are perhaps least likely in that setting to say anything, and when they do, there may be a language that isn't the language that we would want to encourage, if you follow my drift, right?
If I'm to, thank you for that question. If I'm to bring that closer to Toastmasters in and of itself, and in so doing, I may refer to a quote by Ralph Smedley. It says, "Ours is the only organization I know dedicated to the individual. We work together to bring out the best in each of us and then apply these skills to help others." Male or female, but in particular to male, what we do within Toastmasters is form a community, so to speak, or a space where you are safe. We encourage speaking, and we do so with an open sense, where to say we're not here to tell you have to be perfect when you speak.
That's right.
Let's say, for instance, in Toastmasters, one of the first thing you have to do is what we call your icebreaker. Now, your icebreaker, it's, if you want to simplify it, it's to get to know you. It's like the interview we're doing here now. It's you're getting to know what Toastmasters is about. So you get a chance to tell us about yourself. And in that telling us about yourself, we just ask you to look at your sentence structure. Now, for males, we like to speak. But in this environment, in the club, we would provide a safe space. A space where when you're given feedback, it's constructive and not demotive. It's to say, hey, here are some things that you did really, really, really well.
Yes.
And this is an area we think you could work on. And this is how you could work on it. And we have different ways through the club you can work on that. You could play different roles each week. You could be a grammarian, you could be the timer, you could be the counter, you could be an evaluator. And in and of themselves, those particular roles give you a chance as well to speak. You have to have an opening, you have to have a body, and you have to have a closing. So the more we give you the opportunity to speak, it builds that confidence.
The structure not unlike that of writing, your intro, your body, your conclusion.
Yes.
But Mr. Shoy, from that perspective, somewhat, and I say this carefully but also deliberately, we somehow confuse an accent with intellect. We fail to appreciate that intellect isn't only about and I deliberately remind people that I'm from West Bay. Not because I say so, but because of how I speak. Doesn't mean that you're not conscious that you speak slower at times. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't look at your elocution, but doesn't mean just because you have a certain particular intonation or accent, it means that you're really making any sense.
True.
And that may fall on some people and rub on the wrong way, but it's Monday. By Friday, you might get over it. We'll see.
Yeah, I know, right?
But the idea that I welcome, and I really thank Ms. Anita for helping us have this discussion, is that we start to appreciate that the opportunities are there for us to speak confidently.
Right.
And it doesn't mean because you're an attorney before the courts and you own that courtroom, that when you come before a microphone and you have an interview on the radio, that you're going to necessarily be as comfortable. It's a different setting. Right, so sorry.
Right. That's correct. And what I like about Toastmasters, we don't merely focus on the public speaking aspect, but the listening aspect. As you mentioned, accents. We have, in Cayman, we have a wide number of nationalities living, and sometimes you're trying to focus to listen to hear what is being said, and you're unable to. And Toastmasters help you to really listen and try your best to understand, and then when you understand, you give that feedback. And also we work on our leadership skills. We're talking about young people. Ms. Merle mentioned our youth leadership program. We realize that our young people are our future, right? And who am I to say that I cannot be the next premier, the next lawyer, the next governor, whatever it is? So we focus on our young people. We have these training programs for them to build their self-confidence and to help them to accept roles in schools, wherever they find themselves. And so eventually they will know that whatsoever they want to become in life, they can.
You're only limited by your ambition and your imagination.
That's right. True. That's right.
But one of the things is sometimes we become so conscious of how we want to be or how we think we're perceived. And that could be a stumbling block. So you're going to speak and you're so concerned about what others are going to say that it just negates what you want to say and of yourself. So again, what we try to do, and I say try not because we don't, but just what we try to foster and emulate and sustain in Toastmasters is just that safe space to say we're a group of individuals of different minds, but our common goal is to improve. Whether, as Sasha said, we're looking to improve our listening ability, or we're looking to improve our speaking ability, or we're looking to improve our leadership ability. And in this space, know that when you stand up to speak, no one is going to laugh at you in the sense of, oh, what kind of content is that? But more so, hey, you may have an area that needing smile, and afterwards somebody may come to you and say, hey, I like your speech. Here are some areas we think you can improve on, or here is what we think you could try to input to improve that. And so with that constant feedback and having your input and doing it in a way where it's not malicious in nature, where it's not degrading in how it's delivered, but more so, I see what you're trying to say, and we get the essence of it, but here are some other tools you could try to apply, to better convey that message, or better present what it is you're trying to share or you want to share.
All right, well, when we come back, just quickly, have a pause, take up a break, try to stay on the good side of Miss Susan, because, as easy as that is, if we don't, then there are consequences. All right, talking about Toastmasters, so we invite you to be a part of the discussion. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
As a Caymanian, it's very important to me that projects like this are thought of thoroughly before continuing.
My question is, do we need it? And I've not yet been fully convinced that we need it, nor have I been fully convinced that we don't need it. So
what guarantee do we have that these ships are going to continue to come?
Please make the right decision.
Please don't let the catchy songs overturn you. Please support the referendum. Please ensure that you are supporting sustainable tourism, not just money-making tourism.
If the project plans have changed, even though it might be insignificant on paper, it's going to be significant for the environment.
They need to release official information, official facts.
That's where I am right now. I want to know, I want more information on do we need it.
It's your vote, your future.
So make a decision based on fact.
You deserve the whole truth.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center. Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center is your one-stop shop for all of your sewing and alterations, fabrics, household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations. Call Super Stitch at 949-2833 or email customercare@superstitch.com.ky. Super Stitch, located 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road, is still offering the best prices in town.
New name, new owner, new management. The TC Paint Shop is the authorized dealer for Sherwin-Williams in the Cayman Islands, and we are ready to serve your needs. We have got the very best quality makeup for your home and your commercial building. All at the TC Paint Shop is Sherwin-Williams paint. So does your home need a little makeup on it? Come and see us. Does your office need a little makeup on it? Come and see us. Lipstick, eyeshadow, face mask, all Sherwin-Williams style. 943-0565, 27 Godfrey Nixon Way. We are so looking forward to serving you soon.
This is our new chicken cheese pop. Popcorn chicken meets fried cheese bites, breaded with the 11 herbs and spices of our secret recipe. The collision of flavors that triggers your true cravings. Escape through indulgence with a new chicken cheese pop from KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Available for a limited time at KFC Shedden Road and KFC Baytown Plaza. Dine in or drive through.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And as we invite you to be a part of our discussion, we're going to have an opportunity for a few more moments to talk about Toastmasters, and not just Toastmasters International, but the effectiveness, the opportunities for those who live and work here and call this place home to be a part of it. As I go around, Sir Shaw, Miss Merrill, Sean, and now joining us, a lady that you primarily hear on Saturday mornings. If you've been fortunate, you've heard her equally on our buzz a few times. Our colleague, some of us would even call her a very good friend, and she'll smile when we say so. Miss Anita Khan. Good afternoon, Miss Anita.
Good afternoon, Sterling. Good afternoon, Sean, Sashoy, and Merrill. It's wonderful listening to you, ladies, and Sean.
Thank you.
Now, Anita, if I may ask you, and I was asking Miss Merrill earlier.
You know the questions weren't supposed to be thrown to me, right?
Huh?
I'm just a sit in.
You just sit there and look good?
Yeah.
Why? You're a civil servant? That's not possible.
Yeah, I'm believing you, Sterling.
Yeah, no, okay. Man. We go by the tree, we dig the hole, we plant it, we water it, we nurture it. We do it all. That's the way civil servants roll.
That's all the Toastmaster Club in Cayman. Grand Cayman.
Yeah.
That's how it's been.
From that perspective, though, because there are many of us who maybe because of our jobs, we have to engage with people, we have to make presentations, we have to talk to our colleagues, to clients. Maybe because of our jobs, we're expected to travel to do different things. But there's a difference between doing your job and perhaps being a part of an organization like Toastmasters that get you to be consciously aware of speech, the delivery, I don't want to say the essence of closing, convincing, and the like. If you would allow me, for you, because I remember, and you forgive me, I remember listening to ICCI, and your voice was familiar there with some others. Radio came on, I think, for 80 years now? I think it's been
about 28.
I
would say about 25 part-time and or 24 part-time and the rest full-time.
And even, not to hopefully make Miss Susan uncomfortable, but even Miss Susan, these voices that are familiar to us, that are so confident on the radio, that are so comfortable to us to listen to, whether in the mornings or the evenings, whether it's Saturday or Tuesday night, doesn't matter. For you, that to Toastmasters, how does it help?
Sterling, it does help. It gave me the confidence to not only stand up in front of a group of people and deliver a speech. No, I've not done too many speeches. I like to go and enjoy and just listen to everybody, and critique silently. But knowing that we're all in a growing process. But it gave me the confidence after I left ICCI FM. Voluntarily, we volunteered the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And it gave me the confidence to actually be on air here at Radio Cayman, and I take that confidence with me wherever I go, whether it's a one-on-one, whether it's in a group, whether it's in a presentation. It just gave me that confidence to just do my thing. And I listened to someone doing a keynote speech this weekend, and it was an awesome speech. But my personal gripe was that she didn't engage her audience. And because of that, she missed out on a whole lot of having people just getting the message out there. So I am looking at her, I'm thinking, boy, that's a potential for Grand Cayman Toastmasters Club.
Yeah. So you talk to, but do you talk with?
Talk with, yes.
You know, and the
Definitely.
notion that, as you shared earlier, just think of active listening. Now, there are many things you can do. You guys correct me if I'm off base, but none as taxing as listening. You know, you can run a marathon, and yes, you're going to be tired. You know, you can listen to your coworkers gripe, and yes, you're going to be tired. But if you honestly listen to people when they talk, you ask them a question, you want to hear their answer, you engage them, that is taxing. From that perspective, then, if I may first start with both Ms. Marilyn and Mr. Shaw, the idea, and I say this to Caymanians, to engage in the Caymanian youth in particular, with the greatest respect to all who may have been here for a while, who just come. For some reason, our people, you and I, Ms. Marilyn, are probably examples. People don't realize we're quiet and shy, we're a bit reticent. We don't have the desire to be public, you know. People don't understand that.
Sure.
No, seriously. I bet you know people who know us closer would say we're quiet, right? But we can be engaged.
Yes.
So from that perspective, how do we get in our schools, despite the limited size of our population, more Caymanian participation, to take the microphone, to come to your Toastmasters youth program, to engage and to be comfortable and to increasingly become to that point where, you know what, they're emceeing the events, they're giving a toast at their best friends waiting, that they want to, but instead of shaking like a leaf, they're there laughing. We've seen it. You know, a good friend is there, and you know, no matter how much drink he had, no matter how much you take and you try to support him with 2 sticks, he still wobbles, right? So, those two, well.
I want to say my broadcasting teacher, Miss Susan Watler, Miss Sue said, there must be some, if you're not, there must be some element of nervousness.
Of course.
And that will give you the confidence. Otherwise, you'll become complacent and just do your own thing. But that little bit of nervousness, once it kicks in, man, you're in control. You own the stage.
I'm nervous every day I come in here, man.
You own this table. You own this wrong table.
This is mine.
This is yours.
This is mine.
This is yours. And once you tell yourself it's yours, it's yours.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't see my name on this table. It's mine. Okay. But with that, Ms. Mary, Mr. Short, your thoughts?
Well, Toastmasters have been around for 95 years across the world. And within the Cayman Islands, we've been here for almost 20 years. And that is why we're on air and we're doing other things to raise awareness as to what we do and what we have to offer. And if there's anyone who is listening and they're saying, I have a group of kids and I would love for them to experience Toastmasters, they can give us a call, give Sterling a call, and he'll
1-800-5.
and we'll be happy to go in and put on an 8-week program where we will train, teach, share about leadership skills, speaking skills, and to help develop that self-confidence.
And if I may, if you'll not feel, but I know you won't, because I know you see the compliment, the Optimist Club, their oratorial competition, the same sort of introduction to our youth in particular, our students in our schools. There's nothing better than to see a child, sometimes a young adult, and I think Mr. Shaw, you would have attested to it as you have earlier, come into a studio, and then come back 3, 4, 5 times, and each time just better, more confident. And not because of any other than practice and training. Right, Ms. Rao?
Yeah, you see the growth on the many visits, and you see the work that the youth has been putting into it.
Now, Sean, if I may ask of you, and I'm deliberately doing this because I think as parents specifically, and you speak to parents because I believe that we want the best for our children. We take them for their annual checkup to make sure they're healthy, they're born, and then we go to the doctor with these scheduled visits and we do all the stuff. We take them to lessons for extra tutoring. We introduce them to music and the arts and all the things. Then at some point, we don't engage as much. But you shared 12 months your journey in Toastmasters, as it were. There was obviously an experience and expertise before then. And then in that short 365 days thereabouts, it's measured in hours almost. Growth, opportunity, your perspective.
Thank you. Interesting question.
Of course it is, but it's the intellect that I ask.
One of the things that has improved for me is my ability to listen. It's still nowhere where it needs to be, but it has improved. It has improved with using different techniques that I'm learning. That's one thing that has improved. Also, what has also improved is my ability to do what we call impromptu speaking, just like what you just asked me. I didn't know what I was going to say. I didn't know where you're going. But to be able to listen to you before I respond, take a minute or two, pause, think about what I want to say, and then begin to speak. What used to happen before, it's almost like a robust debate where no one is listening. So by the time before you should even finish speaking, I'm ready with an answer. Versus hearing you, stopping, process, all in sometimes in 30 seconds. So that kind of sharpness that has built up for me over the last 12 months, and along with that for me too as well, it's just developing my own leadership ability. I think it's innate, but it's just rough, and it just needs some sandpapering, and this service organization offers that opportunity for me.
It can be developed. It may be innate, right? But it can be inculcated.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And then if I can ask then, as you come into there are some of us who can't comment, what I say, extemporaneously. They can't say it off the cuff, right? They needed to be prepared. Now, there are some of us who, let's go.
Yes.
For that person who needs a little time to process, you think of the discussion, there's a meeting of sorts, and they say, well, let's just take a pause and we'll continue this meeting later on. The person goes away and they can come back with, a 50,000 page document with everything annotated and, but ask them for quickly, what's your first thoughts? We confuse that people think differently. Would a person that, or how would a person that benefit from Toastmasters? Sean gave a good example, but sometimes it's just words. There isn't anything substantive because of, their mindset is one where they want to be as exhaustive in their research, as analytical in their processing.
I'm sorry, I know it's directly to Sasha, but
jump
one
in,
of the
man,
things
thank
that
you.
I keep hearing, all right, for the radio audience and for the wider world, it's a general rule of thumb that we need to remember: nothing happens without work. Nothing happens without work. It doesn't matter what organization you're a part of. And Toastmasters is not saying if you walk through the door tomorrow and you become a member, you sit in 2 or 3 meetings, you're going to walk through the door and be an eloquent speaker. No, there is a process, and we have what we and again, I respectfully want to dumb it down or make it be as simple as possible. There is a process. You can join a club. You can determine you're going to do your first speech. And depending on what your own objective is for yourself, you may want to go through a program of just speaking, as well as you want to be a well-rounded person. And in so doing, like we said earlier, we have different roles you can play. You could be a sergeant of arms, where you get to greet persons who come in. Before the meeting begin, you take a minute, then you tell them what to do. And those little roles incrementally over a while develop your confidence. You may now decide, okay, I can master this. Let me try something else. One of the roles that I personally fear in the club, which I've only done it once, and I must say, is the grammarian role. And my fear of it heightened recently, but I'm also motivated because I passed at our recent meeting, our combined meeting last week, Thursday, at the public library. Toastmaster Miffy, articulate, the way she was able to listen and dissect and share with us the proper use of words and sentence agreement. It was just so informative. And when those things happen, you being a part of that meeting, you don't walk away leaving like, oh God, I'm so dumb. No, but you're like, oh, that's an alertness. You're now aware. And then at our professional level, and I know you're talking about youths, but even at the professional level, between you're working up, say, 21 up to infinity, jokingly, in everyday life, there are little things that you would have not remembered in early disciplines that you learn through high school, university, that the club helped to remind that these fundamentals and foundations are important with how you communicate. And so that's one of the things I love with the club. But to go back to the point, it doesn't happen without the work. You have to come in, be open to the process, open to the feedback, be open to partake, not to sit down and what we like to call, a bench warmer. You just sit there, and each week, you're keeping your thoughts, not doing anything, but you have to open yourself like anything with life, and then persons will pour into you. One of the also good things that I love with Toastmasters is where we talk about leadership, there's a strong mentorship program. You become a member, you're supposed to be assigned a mentor. What the mentor does, or he or she does, is just to get from you where you want to go, ask you certain questions, what you want to accomplish, and then help you develop a roadmap or ensure you stick to your roadmap as much as possible. And then the Toastmasters International set with its new program has its own way of assessing what it is that you want to do, and then recommend the path that you should take to accomplish what it is you want to do. So all in all, it's a well-rounded organization. And one of the things in closing, as you can see in the room here, it's pretty indicative of what the club mix is now in terms of its gender distribution. Like we said, the ratio is roughly, I wanted to say 50-50, but gosh, that would be like, it's almost there, give or take. It's like 53, 47 or 46. And it's more in favor of female versus male. But for my male brothers who are out there, those who are, whether you're in sales, whether you're in litigation, whether you're a paralegal, whether you have to speak with your colleagues, speak with your employer, your employee, whether you have a small committee, you're a coach, whatever is it that you do, and you want to improve and work on yourself and your speaking ability, we welcome you. We have close to 6 clubs island-wide, and so we welcome you to join one that is convenient to you.
All right.
And I would just like to add to that, to our listening audience out there, having spent 40 years in the corporate world, your first step will be is to go to your boss and speak to your boss and ask them if you would like to join a Toastmasters club, because that would also help you in your appraisals. And if you're a supervisor, it will help you even more. And you can go to your boss, and once you visit the club, then your company then could even become a Toastmasters club. So I would say go for it, because Toastmasters is here to stay. And the success of Toastmasters is communication and leadership.
Communication, leadership, huh?
Excellent. Excellent. Toastmaster Merrill mentioned the corporate clubs, and we do have 3 corporate clubs in Cayman. EY Toastmasters Club, which Toastmaster Miffy, as Sean mentioned, is a part of. She's the president of the EY Toastmasters Club. And we have the Scotiabank, Scotia Pioneers. Those 2 clubs meet at Camana Bay. And we also have the Civil Service Toastmasters Club. So all civil servants are invited to join that club and to improve leadership and public speaking skills. Now, as an organization, we are open to any company that says, hey, I think Toastmasters will benefit our employees. We are willing to come in, do a demo meeting, and share how we can start a club right there within that company. And for persons who may be thinking, I want a club in my community, we can have that done as well. And we'll share a few numbers close to the end as to how persons can get in touch with us and to start more clubs. We have 6, and we're hoping to have a whole lot more within the Cayman Islands very soon.
Well, as I listen to you and reflect on the importance of it, let's quickly take a final break of this segment. When you come back, share with us a bit more about it, share those numbers as well.
Okay.
And who knows, we'll see where it takes us. And by the end of the day, Sean might be buying us lunch. I mean, it's possible. We can see. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
The Business Buzz with Sabrina Turner. Each and every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Brought to you by
Cayman Medical Supplies. Call them at 949-6211. Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And also brought to you by FSH Design. Let your imagination grow with FSH Design. Visit fshdesign.com today.
Ambitious, determined, beautiful, and unapologetically uncompromising. You have set the bar high. Now let High Fashion and Design Studio take you to the next level. Full service hair and nail salon carrying the top designer brands. Calvin Klein, 9 West. Shoes, clothing, accessories, quality dressmaking, tailoring, and custom design. High Fashion and Design Studio, located in Cayman Trade Center, 199 Eastern Avenue, across from Bananas Restaurant. Call 945-4415 to book your high fashion and design experience today. Be bold, be true, be you.
The government claims the cruise berthing facility won't cost us a penny. It will be paid for by the cruise passenger who use it, not by our people or our government.
The fact is, you will be paying. Because government is going to give the consortium development team, led by Royal Caribbean and Carnival, a portion of the cruise revenue that is currently being banked by government.
What's more, we will be repaying them
$450 million.
$250 million more
than what the facility even costs.
It's your vote, your future.
So make a decision based on fact.
You deserve the whole truth.
The results confirmed that it is super easy for teens to get an e-cigarette, and among the teens who reported that they use e-cigarettes, 12% of them say their friends use it as well. 76.3% of over 3,000 teens said that their parents have had the conversation with them about drugs and alcohol. I bet you're wondering how I know all of this. Well, me and over 3,000 teens did a drug survey at school in 2018, and the results are directly from us, your teens.
Know the facts. Contact the National Drug Council and learn about the Parents as Preventers training. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And thanks so much for joining us. And really grateful to our guests, not just for who they are and what they're sharing, but the notion that, as we're talking about Toastmasters, 6 opportunities through the 6 clubs that exist for, more of us to become more comfortable with the importance of engaging in meaningful discourse, to be able to constructively have a discussion that conveys a message in a meaningful way. Toastmasters in the presence of Mr. Shaw, Ms. Merrill, Ms. Anita, and Sean for joining us, because I think oftentimes all of us, even those that we may, ascribe with certain labels, they themselves will probably tell you they don't like public speaking. They would rather just have a conversation. And then those who are paid to listen sometimes will tell you that it's a challenge. What did you say again? How do I listen? How do I develop? So as you were sharing, Shoy.
Okay. In listening, we try not to listen to give a response.
Mm-hmm.
We listen to understand. And if you say something, I will ask back in a different way.
Active listening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then you'd respond yes and continue. Then when I know what you're saying, I understand what you're saying, then I can give my response. Public speaking is an art. It is. And at Toastmasters, we help individuals to hone those skills, to develop that art.
Something as you were sharing, I wrote down the name Lawrence Fishburne, and I was just thinking to his early career to now.
Yes.
Probably one of the best voices you'll hear, probably one of the best speakers, whether he's on stage, doing a play or whatever it's called, or whether he's in a feature film. He has a presence about him. He speaks in a way that is, and whether you think of him or you think of James Earl Jones or any others, but they speak in a way that shows not just intellect, but deliberateness with which they speak. Now, maybe we've been fortunate to listen to U.S. President Clinton give a presentation. And man, if he doesn't get you fired up, what will? There are some people that can, that are great orators. But then, Sean, there's hope for me and you.
Yeah, I agree. Especially for me.
For all of us, man.
Well, you sound very competent in how you communicate. I know I've not seen you in the public, so to speak, as in addressing a live mass, where you have that energy you're feeding off and you're speaking. However, here you are very clear, you're very precise, even here, I was looking at you and as body language, how you speak, as those things do we learn to look at and to encourage. The use of gestures, how when you're on the stage, or how you turn, what's best to do or not to do.
Yeah, I was almost attempt to make a joke and say, "Don't worry, elections coming, you get a chance to see it." I almost say that.
Yeah, I've heard that joke.
This was some serious evaluation.
Yes.
Sean?
No,
we give him a 9?
Yeah. Out of 8? What?
Touché, very good.
No, but it's your setting as the people with. But thank you for sharing that. And I think that we don't recognize that we always need to be mindful of who we are, where we are, and be respectful to be able to respond to people in a way that, I keep saying the golden rule isn't he who has the gold or the gun. The golden rule is, treat others, and we forget that. I always appreciate, having this chance to chat with us. And I keep saying, as parents, the examples that we set, the things that we introduce our children to, that we allow them to be a part of, is it productive and constructive? Is it positive and meaningful? Is it something that's going to help them, not just themselves, but help them to help others? It's not all about taking.
As you said that, I'm here thinking, and I don't know if I'm going back or if I'm even answering, but I just want to say
we're going forward, man.
I would, along with coming to club meetings and to sit down at minimum an hour and 15 minutes. That's how long the meet, and it's time driven. And that's another discipline the club teaches. We begin promptly at the time, whichever club you're at. For the club I'm a part of, we begin at 6. And if you begin at 6:01, you have a fine or a consequence which comes through the Sarge, which here truly I'm the Sarge and I have no problems leveling the fines. But along with that, Toastmasters, we don't just invite you to come and sit in a room. We are partnering with different organizations in the community. You mentioned earlier the Optimist Club. When they're having the oratorical competition, we are partners with them in that. You talk about the different pageants locally. The beauty pageants.
Yes.
We are one of those silent partners, but very strong behind the scene with encouraging those women to grow. And we've seen where from stage to stage how they do their deliveries. There are other local service clubs, which have interest in our services, so to speak. We're talking about the lines we talked about earlier about doing mock meetings. So there are clubs that have an interest to have us come along, to do those kind of things. So Toastmasters, all in all, is what we bring. And again, I go back to what Ralph Smedley said. Ours is the only organization I know dedicated to the individual.
That's right. And Sterling, within the Cayman Islands, our Toastmasters are doing an exceptional job. And I must say that we have Toastmaster Kimberly Connolly. She was in charge of 3 clubs in the Cayman Islands. And for the year 2018-2019, she has been awarded the Area Director of the Year. Area directors are in charge of clubs. So she had 3 clubs within Cayman, and for all the area directors in Jamaica Cayman and Turks and Caicos were assessed, and our own Kimberly Connolly.
It's a first for us.
Yes, yes. And
so we're putting Cayman on the map.
Yes. And also we have Marjorie Bush Dixon from the Cayman Islands, who was awarded Toastmaster of the Year. And once again, they looked at all the Toastmasters in Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and Turks and Caicos. And the performance and the service from Toastmaster Marjorie Bush Dixon awarded her Toastmaster for the entire year, 2018-2019. And we are proud of what's happening in Cayman Islands and what will be happening very soon as more persons come on board.
Well, I commend you, and I'm trusting that, as people, we start to appreciate the importance of public discourse, to understand that we can talk to a subject, whether we're supporting it, whether we're opposed to it, whether we're unsure, we just want more information.
Yeah.
But to be able to do so respectfully, to engage in debate in our schools, but more importantly, to sit around the table and to be able to agree to disagree, as it were.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And in addition to that, around a table having a discussion, we'll again learn to listen. We're not, everyone not actively talking to cut the other out. So we're listening around the table, and that's one of the things that I love about Toastmasters as well. Another thing I've observed, 95 years internationally. It's an organization that is always seeking to re-innovate. So now we have a new program. We're going extremely digital on platform on how we, assess and share information. And here locally, we're also excited. While we are part of the 95th celebration, we're also anticipating our 20th year celebration. Yes. But one of the things we had our church service yesterday. On Saturday, we should have had our amazing race competition, which that's going to be held a little later on down only because of the inclement weather that didn't happen. So we're not just also sitting in rooms, but we go out, we socialize. We interact, we have team building exercises to ensure that, crosstalk and communication is very alive and well, and we support each other.
That's right. And Sean is a very good sergeant at arms, let me tell you. But I know how to dodge him. Last meeting, my phone went off, and I knew he was going to find me at the end of the meeting. I'm like, I got to work around this, Turley. We're smart, right? So before he came to the podium, I said, Sean, $2 for my phone going off. You know what he did? He took my $2 and he charged me an additional $2.
Yeah, because she didn't wait for me to
I didn't wait
to level the fine.
No, that's not fair, right?
No, I should charge
but this is the kind of fun stuff. This is the fun stuff that will happen at the meeting. So it's always an enjoyable time. Enjoyable hour and 15 minutes max.
Well, I'm glad that you shared that, because I was going to ask in closing that we see this as preparation, as developing, as Mr. Merrill shared, you in your corporate environment, you want to advance. Everybody wants to be as much of a contributor as they can. But there's also fellowship and camaraderie. You built a friendship. Who knows where that'll take you? Vacations together. You become, the godparents to each other's children. There are other things that will transpire, and we don't have enough bonds that transcend time, And unfortunately, there are people that trust, that respect, that love, as it were.
Yes,
is needed more. But
I just want to add to the camaraderie. Every year we have a Toastmasters convention, which is in different states of the United States. So a lot of members go to that convention, and we learn so much from it. And there again, we form stronger relationships.
I'm thinking, Sean, you'll forgive me, I always think of our youth, because if we don't prepare them, if we don't show them a path and nurture them, mentor them, we use all sorts of words. Sometimes they get lost. But equally, as we get on into our professions and we're looking down the road, whether we're 60 or 70 or 80, and we're thinking, it's time to kind of step back from the office, this would be a good way to continue contributing, continue growing.
Totally agree.
Yeah, man. So thank you.
Totally agree. And I agree. Well, maybe what I'm about to say may not be what everyone would say. So I don't necessarily say the youth of the future, because the youth of the future, I don't know. I'm talking about the youth of today. So the ones who are here now, those are the ones we can impact. They are the ones who will have the kids of the future. So what we leave with them now, affects their tomorrow.
Their mentoring, their development, their nurturing. Mr. Shoy, perhaps closing thoughts on behalf of the group, huh?
Yes.
All right. Would you please? And you, ooh. I'll leave it to you. Go ahead.
Okay. For those who are listening and saying, hey, we need to ask a question, we need some more information, we'd love to start a club in our area, 939-8847 is the number to call, 939-8847. And finally, leaders are born. Leaders are also made. And they are made within Toastmasters. So join us. Make that time. Invest that time in yourself, in your children, in your family, and join us and see what we have to offer and see how you can benefit from the Toastmasters program.
So true, man. We don't know where it'll take us, but if we don't make that first step, we'll always stand still.
Agreed.
Thank you very, very much indeed. And as the years unfold, but certainly even in the weeks ahead, if there's a way we can help to promote, support, encourage, and nurture, please reach out to us.
And thank you for having us, Dwayne Sterling, and thank you, Miss Anita.
No, Sterling is a man. That's your man.
Definitely agree.
Can I get it for my ringtone?
Sure can.
Thanks for the time, Sterling. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Sterling.
Thank you. You're most welcome. It was an honor for me, and I'm hoping that other people, and I keep sharing that it is for us to work together, to find ways to facilitate, and to be, as much as we want to hold others accountable, to be willing to be held accountable equally. Because it's only how we can move together. All right, with that, amen. Let's pause and take a break. When we come back, well, join us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access to information.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
A top hostage negotiator, the CEO of a company which supplies environmental products to ship owners and operators, and the heads of 2 maritime technology firms are all part of an impressive lineup of speakers scheduled to speak at the 2019 Women's International Shipping and Trading Association, WISTA, AGM and Conference, which begins tomorrow through this Friday, November 1st. The 4-day event is being hosted by WISTA Cayman Islands and is expected to bring over 200 maritime experts from 30-plus countries. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, thousands of Los Angeles residents have been told to evacuate because of a fast-moving wildfire that began in the early hours of this morning. The Getty fire started near the Getty Center Arts Complex and spread to about 500 acres, close to some of the city's most expensive homes. California's governor has declared a statewide emergency as wildfires continue to rage in many other areas. NBA star LeBron James was among those forced to flee the LA fire. And secrets of serving the Queen have been revealed in a new book by one of Her Majesty's closest aides. Angela Kelly has written a behind-the-scenes account of her years as the Queen's official dressmaker and friend. Unusually, the other side of the coin, the Queen, the dresser, and the wardrobe is authorized by the monarch. Its blurb says the Queen has personally given Angela her blessing to share their unparalleled bond with the world. And that's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
As a Caymanian, it's very important to me that projects like this are thought of thoroughly before continuing.
My question is, do we need it? And I've not yet been fully convinced that we need it, nor have I been fully convinced that we don't need it. So
what guarantee do we have that these ships are going to continue to come?
Please make the right decision.
Please don't let the catchy songs overturn you. Please support the referendum. Please ensure that you are supporting sustainable tourism, not just money-making tourism.
If the project plans have changed, even though it might be insignificant on paper, it's going to be significant for the environment.
They need to release official information, official facts.
That's where I am right now. I want to know, I want more information on do we need it.
It's your vote, your future.
So make a decision based on fact.
You deserve the whole truth.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome back. And I trust and pray that you are indeed experiencing and enjoying a marvelous Monday. 949-8037, 949-8037. Or, if you can, please accept our invitation with the kind compliments of flow to call us on our toll-free line at 1-800-534-8255, 1-800-534-8255. And of course, if you want to send us a thought on our WhatsApp, well, you can do that, 925-3261. It's open line, as we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. I want to perhaps share with you some comments that were given to us by one of our listeners and invite you to perhaps weigh in, respond to it as you wish. Equally, there may be something else that you want to talk about. It's no shortage of things in our community to chat about. It could be that you're passionate about something. Maybe you're still, a bit unsure about. Maybe there is something that you just believe has not, as yet, given sufficient play. So, as you choose, go right ahead and share your thoughts with us. Let me read this to you. One of our listeners has written this piece. Let us read it for you as best as we can. So I wanted to share with you 2 disturbing occurrences I had this weekend in relation to Halloween, tourism, heritage, and quote-unquote sacred space for us as a people. I visited Pedro St. James Castle with a visitor to the Cayman Islands on Friday to introduce them to elements of our culture and who we are as a people. Pedro St. James Castle is usually a significant stop to make before journeying on in the exploration of our islands with visitors, as it helps to create a backdrop for everything else Caymanian that they will experience from a cultural standpoint. The problem, though, occurred when we entered the multimedia theatre and then the Great House, to be greeted with ghoulish images representing Halloween, which have nothing to do with our culture or heritage. My outrage was intensified when I saw them decorating the first floor of the Great House with spider webs, a huge black widow spider, and other Halloween paraphernalia. Apparently, they were getting ready for a Halloween event that would be held there and had blocked off the first floor. My question is, aren't there any restrictions in place to protect heritage sites from being desecrated and made a mockery of with events such as these that only promote evil in the name of having fun, and then imposing that atmosphere onto a space of national historical importance? It appears to me as though they wanted to create a haunted house atmosphere on the site to simply have a good time at our expense. If this is being done for money, then shame on us as a people for allowing this to happen. Money is the root of all evil, and we are selling ourselves out for it too often and in too many ways. It continues, it says, my disgust was further heightened when I approached the West Bay Fire Station and graveyard on Friday night around 10 p.m. to see at least 3 to 4 huge buses parked alongside the graveyard, seemingly filled with people dressed in Halloween costumes, and a number of them walking in the graveyard, and some appeared to be taking pictures. What was the purpose of this activity? Have we now turned the place where we lay our loved ones to rest into a ghost yard space for any and everyone from all walks of life who don't care about us, nor are people to roam dressed up in Halloween costumes depicting evil and making a mockery of us? Something should be done about this. It is simply wrong. This is going too far. We are allowing too much to fall by the wayside, and there is no respect left for us as a people, including our beliefs and values. It seems we are only here for people to make money off us, chew us up, spit us out, and move on to the next attraction. The Tourism Attraction Board should put a stop to this, and if they are the ones encouraging it, then they need to be reminded that we are not monkeys in a zoo for people to pass by and look at as an attraction taking pictures. This country still belongs to us, the Caymanian people who live here and have lives, values, beliefs, and morals we choose to abide by, and these activities are simply not acceptable. As a matter of fact, it's very distasteful. And as this person, says, I believe this needs to be brought to attention of people, and we can't just shut up. And when things like this happens. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Just fine, thank you. I just like to explain something simply with the St. James House here, Pedro. We call Pedro Castle, and I guess everybody knows, or might know, who I am.
Yes, sir.
I'm taking the liberty to take it upon myself. I'm just an employee here, but I guess they know my job. I help to teach people a lot about our history and there and so forth. It's something, the Halloween thing has always been a thing we do every year. It's just a little attraction and fun thing for children mostly. We have always done that. And the people have enjoyed it and have brought their children. Many cross-sections of Caymanian society. We have come there and participated and have fun, and they've provided gifts and free things for children and a fun time. And they do the theatre and they do the multimedia, and we explain the history of the place to people and all that. I'm sorry if it's offended anyone. I understand what you're saying. But the same thing with Pirates Week. It's not really our heritage. But we do that, and it's a fun thing that brings relief for fun. My dear father would never be. He was always against pirates as a captain and so forth. But I wouldn't bother going into that now. But people have accepted the fun notion of it, and that it creates some money coming in from the tourists, because the tourist attraction is what it is, tourist attraction board. And also, it's just for a few short days. And a lot of people have become involved in Pirates Week over the Halloween tradition over many, many years. Many of our people still remain a Christian conservative country, but they let their little children dress up Halloween time and do these fun things just for trick-or-treating or so forth. And they've always had it there at St. James House, Pedro Castle, Pedro St. James. He chose Pedro as a location, of course, to fit in with the Halloween thing. And it was an idea, and the place has to have sources of revenue come in. We do events, we do parties, we do weddings, a lot of weddings here for different people from different denominations and so forth. And mostly there's always a Christian aspect to it, and there's always a Christian, more or less, marriage officer taking the vows and countless of times I've seen that there. So we're not departing from any serious tradition and teaching and showing the people. It was just it's a momentous thing, and it's just to try to fit in with a little Halloween thing that we do. And it's, didn't want anyone to be offended and take it seriously. But I mean, they can always speak to the senior management there if you're not satisfied with that little explanation. But I thought that it is, I have a part to play in sort of defending that thing. I am not too much for ghoulish things and all like that myself, but it's just, it is not really something that we want anyone to take seriously. Little children have always had fun with a haunted house kind of aspect, and so we didn't really think it would offend anyone, but I can understand people's difference of opinion, different views on different things, but I wouldn't like for them to think that we have anywhere digressed or changed from our policy of teaching people nothing could be further from the truth. Every day I try to show people our seriousness, our history, and there are lots of documents there, and I do a lot of explanations to people about things that we simply can't explain in those documents, and why it exists, why the house is there, and so forth. And as a historic site for people to realize the seriousness of what took place there and all that. And we know our very first elections took place there, and bicameral government that existed there from December the 10th, 1831, and it met in two parts. And we also know it was the only time for 6 or 7 years that our country was run almost self-ruled, self-governed. You can check that out. Don't have to believe me, but we know that. And so it has a great significance. I'm not saying it was all done there. There were meetings at what is now the museum, which was a courthouse, and so forth. And the house used to meet there, probably more there than anywhere else. And for a very, very long time, there are pictures of meetings outside the house with the vestrymen and the JPs. A 1907 great photograph, and Commissioner George Stevenson, Sherwood Hurst, and the rest of it at the museum in 1907. A great photograph. Yeah, it's there, right in Peter St. James. And I just think that we have to look at things from the point of view of this thing, just as a fun sort of thing. And it fits in with Halloween. We have done over the years on children dressing up, and even adults dressing up and having Halloween parties. And they're not going into devil worship or anything like that. It's just, look at the fun aspect of it. Something like Pirates Week, you're not going to become pirates overnight. It's just something as a fun thing to attract tourists in the slow time and so forth. Just thought I'd put that 2 bits in. I'm open to other opinions, whatever. But thank you for giving me the time to sort of explain this out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you for sharing, and maybe there's some. Appreciate you taking that time. Let's take one more call, though. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon. All right, 1-800-534-8255. Welcome, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dwayne.
My friend, how are you today?
Okay. Well, I just heard you read about people going in West Bay Graveyard with Halloween suits on.
I read that the person writes Friday evening, just after 10 p.m., 3 to 4 huge buses parked alongside the graveyard, seemingly filled with people dressed in Halloween costumes, and a number of them walking in the graveyard, and some appear to be taking pictures.
What a real disgrace, though, you know. You know you have private graveyards in Cayman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Family member graveyards. You wouldn't see family members going in to their family graveyards dressed in Halloween and taking pictures in their own family graveyard. So it's really disrespectful that those individuals did that, and I hope it's something that will not happen again, because this is something that can get people really upset, and that can cause a lot of problems. And I don't know what the law states about it, but there shouldn't even have to be a law put in place for that type of thing to be occurring, Dwayne.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really disrespectful. It's the first time I've ever heard it in my life in Cayman Islands.
Well, as I've been listening to you, just quick looking at some comments that were shared in relation to the whole issue of the graves and the historical respect that we've had. This person just comments that even now, during the ordinary day, sometimes, even despite the access paths there, people walk. And it's not just to look respectfully amongst the graves and the old headstones, but to walk on top of the graves. On this paraphrase what was shared. So it may be that some people, some don't necessarily have the same level of appreciation or respect that we may think. This person has asked the question, do we need to maybe put up appropriate, proper signage to share, please visit, but please be respectful. We know how we look at the graves, and we don't even go beyond dark, right? At least that was a practice. We rarely would go in the graves, not because of fear, but just because of respect.
Yeah, I mean, on our public beaches, we have no loud music allowed on our public beaches. So what makes these people think that it's right for them to go into our graveyards where our loved ones are resting, dressed up in Halloween costumes and taking pictures and having like a party? Mightn't be music involved, but actually like a party. Because I tell you the truth, this kind of thing can get people real upset, Dwayne. Because if I personally saw them on any my grandmother and my grandfather and my brother and them are buried in that graveyard, and if I seen anybody standing up on their grave taking pictures, Dwayne, I would take a piece of wire and swipe them with it. I'm just being straight with you.
It can cause some people to respond, I think, maybe in a way they wouldn't normally. Yeah. But again, does it come back then to one of those things where we are, because of the fast pace, the growing population and the like, maybe we're not doing it sufficiently to educate and to ensure people understand that there are certain things that are sacred, as this reader sort of uses that phrase?
Well, they better get a sign. They better put a sign up there soon, because Halloween has just started. And this kind of thing can happen. This not part of Cayman culture. I don't know where this came from.
Well, as you shared, as I listened to you, recognizing that it could be that maybe now it's just an innocent attempt at some people to be ghoulish. What if it goes to somewhere further, and then you start having other activities within the graveyard? I appreciate you sharing your thoughts, my friend.
You're welcome.
All right. With that, and apologies to Ms. Susan, well, let's pause and take a final break. When we come back, what are you going to tell us? Well, we want to hear from you. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to VAT Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to VAT Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with VAT cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit VAT Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
Verdant Isle Port Partners is hosting a job fair and open house on Tuesday, October 29th between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. at Margaritaville Beach Resort. Obtain information and register expressions of interest for jobs in building, heavy civil, marine construction and diving, cruise ship positions, tours and shore excursions. Have an idea for a tour business? Appointments are also available for meetings with cruise company executives to discuss tour business opportunities and ideas. For details, visit verdant.ky or email info@verdant.ky.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Radio Cayman 3 to 6 mix on the weekdays.
Tune in, turn it up, listen.
Sponsored by the Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football. Savannah Pharmacy. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. And convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Every day. All the time.
Ultimate party show in the afternoon. Radio Cayman Super Jam.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. It is open line 949-8837 or toll free with the compliments of flow 1-800-534-8255. Thank you very much for keeping my company waiting in, sharing your thoughts with us. Those who want to share their thoughts on WhatsApp 925-3261. Let's read this quick WhatsApp message that just came through. It says, good afternoon. Says, to respect to people going into our graveyards and taking pictures. That's what 137 different nationalities brings to our shores, to our beloved Isle of Cayman. And trust me, it's going to get worse. Well, I trust that it doesn't, but as this writer shares, quite possibly it could. And if it does, what do we do to ensure that it doesn't? 949-8837, 1-800-534-8255. Something that within the last few days, including over the weekend, I'm mindful that some of you will share your thoughts and say, listen, it's after church. Yeah, I know you're going to, probably get ready to do this or that or the next thing. But I'm glad that you feel comfortable enough and that you're willing to be trusting with your sentiments. But a few have shared increasingly, and especially over the last week or so, the amount of vehicles on our roads that seemingly, as one lady shared, and then after a gentleman almost said the same thing, wondering how many more are thinking. So these, I call them scooters. I forgot what some of you say they are. They look like skateboards with a handle and a seat. They're motorized and they're able to propel people along without any sort of human power, as it were. And a few of you have said, it's one thing to use them, but should we be able to legally, are they safe to be used on the roads that not only people who are paying to drive on, they have their cars licensed and insured and should have a license to operate, but are they safe for the people on these things? Are they safe for other road users? Not that they shouldn't be encouraged to scoot around little towns and communities and car parks and maybe in neighborhoods away from the traffic, the areas, but now maybe some of you have seen them as the lady shared. She witnessed a number of times on very, very busy roads, people on these, and I forgive me if I use the wrong term, but I thought she said scooters and then she used another word, but as she described it, they look like two things. One, you stand up on it and there's a handlebar and it's motorized and you move along. And they can, as she says, one of them was going enough to, pass her as she was standing in traffic. And she said there was another one that she equated to being a skateboard, with the exception that instead of using one foot to push in order to get a momentum, you had both feet planted on the skateboard and some sort of remote or device in your hand, and it was moving you along. Probably quite nice, probably a very efficient, effective way to get around without any great deal of pollution. Perhaps they needed to be charged, and yes, maybe they're not being charged with solar panels, but nonetheless, probably less pollution. But her concern was, is it safe, and should it be legally allowed on the roads? Now, after a handful of people in as many days made a comment about it, I thought, is it because it's increasing on the roads? Is it because perhaps it's something that is drawing the attention of more people? Well, if you are using them, be careful. If you see them on the roads, be vigilant so that there is no mishap. And if it's something that you think, well, perhaps should be allowed and we just need to make accommodation, is there a way as we develop roads? But if it isn't, something that should be encouraged, as the lady shared. And she says she can only speak for, her particular state in the U.S., but there are certain motorcycles or mopeds that are prohibited from going up on the freeways, as it were, and they're not allowed to move around other areas, but they just can't be driven on the freeways. Is it that we should be limiting these little scooters, these little motorized skateboards and the like from our main roads? Maybe something to consider. Maybe it's like so many things, we wait till after something unfortunate happens before we address it. I thank the handful of those people in particular for sharing their concerns. With the exception, sometimes we say things and we're not always as mindful. So in this case, thankful. Hey, tomorrow, I want to invite you to join us for our Business Buzz program in the morning. Certainly, the invitation is always to join us for Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. Susan sits behind the wheel, as it were, and she's going to take us into the store with her new, little opportunity for us as we provide for our interns. And, as Miss Susan shares, young Mr. Dwayne Ebanks, he's remarkable, man. She's a good teacher. He's an exceptional learner. And we introduce our students to the wonderful world of radio. So this is what we do here at Radio Cayman. Sometimes the unsung heroes behind the boards. Call in and make a request. I got a one from, Third World. Can I request it? One to one, man. 1-to-1. Yeah. She's going to play it for us. I got some other ones, but that may be a little too political. We'll see what happens. Listen, continue to be an active, engaged, informed part of what is this beautiful country. If you live and work and call it home, let's make it better. Let's be as positive, as productive, as constructive, as engaged, as involved as we can. Because at the end of the day, if it's good for us, it's probably good for everybody else. Until tomorrow, be blessed.